So here we go.
Crack one open.
And the show is officially started. With that crack, the show is going. What are you having to drink?
Water.
With that kind of noise? What kind of water you have? You're having some fancy water.
Cherry Coke for energy when I need it.
There you go. So everybody, welcome to the show. It's Bacon on the Rocks. I'm here with Eric, Chris, and myself, Chuck, and welcome to episode 8. We are up to 8, boys. Can you believe it? 2 months of doing this, technically. 8 whole weeks of Bacon on the Rocks. I was almost going to say months, and I stopped myself. Mm-hmm. I totally was going to say it, and Eric knew I was going to say it. Mm-hmm. I can see it. 8 whole weeks of Bacon on the Rocks. And before we get too far again, I got to make sure we take care of our sponsor, Uncle Pete's. Make sure you check out Uncle Pete's Love Shack. When you need love, call Uncle Pete. And we're just going to leave it at that. Yes, an 11-year-old wrote that. I'm sorry. We just thought it was funny. So anyways, let's move on.
Alyssa.
So,
we only have the best writers.
We pay. We get what we pay for, which is nothing. So
it's typically how it goes.
Uncle Pete's gets that little throw up. Yep, exactly. So everybody, how's everybody's week gone so far from last week? Anything new? Anything exciting?
I'm wearing a hat tonight.
You are wearing a hat. I know. You were a little concerned about it, but it's good. I think the lighting looks good on your face now. I think you got it just right.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. On this camera, it looks good. And we'll see about on the actual camera.
I think you'll be fine. Eric, so all we got to do is get you to wear a hat now, and then we can all be the three amigos and have hats.
Oh, I was close to wearing a hat last time, but now I've gotten to like the length where it's long enough that it's not getting in my face.
Oh, okay.
But I still need to get a haircut really bad.
I know.
Yeah, that's my
Have
problem.
you guys made an attempt or anything to try and get a haircut?
I thought about it this morning. I woke up at like 7:30, and I was like, I should just go drive, sit out inside the place right now. But I was like, nah, I'll go back to sleep.
Nah, who needs it?
Yeah, that's what they made. That's what they made hats for.
Why do you think I started? When I started that, and now it's just the thing. I always feel like I need to wear a hat for the show, so I always wear a hat. But that's exactly why, because my hair was so out of control. I was like, people cannot see me like that, so that's why it's on, and it's just stayed on. But I really don't know, like, with haircuts and how expensive. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I know they miss time and we want to help them out, but I'm just like, I can't justify spending that much on a haircut. When Donna did an okay job, I was like, okay. So, I mean, it could be, she could have left it a little longer, so hopefully second time around it might work. I don't know. I'm debating whether I have her cut it again or not. She may just not want to do it again either. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, now are you wearing a hat because your hair is just out of control, or you just wanted a hat today?
I just didn't feel like messing with my hair. Like, I don't know. With the heat, my hair is like kind of frizzy too. So it's like...
Really?
I just didn't feel like dealing with it, so I was like, I'm putting a hat on tonight.
Hashtag straight hair problems, because I never have that problem. Mine just goes up now.
Yeah, I was also getting a little fluffy, but this headset helps keep it down a bit.
Yeah, really, I was just lazy. Let's call it like it is,
Call a spade. There it is, right there. Just lazy. Just throw the hat on, and that's really what they're for. It's just when you're lazy, you got bedhead, and it's like, forget it, not worth it. Or you can just go and not care either. Us being guys, we're lucky we can get away with that. At least most guys. Some guys really care. Me, I don't know. Whatever.
I've never been that guy.
But no, I've never been either. It's only like if I got to go to a function where it's like I should look appropriate, that's when I'm like, maybe I should, take care of my hair. But the thing is, my hair curls. It's like little curls start popping up. So all I do is I take scissors which Eric, you've been witness to that when I got too much of a curl. I cut it right off. And they freaked out because I cut some of the curl off. I'm like, you can't tell. My hair's just big and fluffy.
I did that right. I did that once right before school picture day.
See, it's not just me.
It wasn't a good idea though.
Eric is not liking this.
I did it once and it was very regretful.
No, well, I'm not taking like big chunks. It was just that little curl that was starting to pop up. I just just got rid of it, made it
I
disappear.
cut my entire bangs off.
Oh no!
Did I tell this story
But you-
already or no?
I don't think so.
I was in
I don't
the
remember
third
it.
grade, okay, and I was still going to
definitely
Catholic school at the time, and I hated like my hair was like hanging down like on my forehead, and I hated it. So my dad had a barber shop right in the house. So one night I decided I'm just gonna go in and cut the front of my hair off, and so that's what I did. And then my father was mortified, and it was like literally like a day or two before school picture day. And so, like, all my school pictures from that year, I have, like, this weird haircut. But makes for a good story.
Oh my gosh. No, and see, I figured I was like going to say before you got into it, I was going to be like, but your father was a barber. You probably had an idea on what you were doing. Obviously not. I was
No.
wrong. Of course, it was the third grade. I got
I
to
was in
give
the
you
third
that
grade.
too, though.
I barely had any scissor skills at all,
Come on, first grade, we got to have scissor skills. What are you talking about? At least safety scissors.
All he learned was not to run with them.
Right. That is all I learned, yeah.
But did you learn? That's the real question. Did you actually learn that? So,
Yeah.
because I know it took me a little longer. Okay, so I'm sorry we got sidetracked there on hair. Yeah, there's a whole topic about hair right there. But exciting news. We have our first big announcement here with Bacon on the Rocks. And it has to do with the previous episode. And I feel, in my own personal opinion, I know, Eric, you don't agree with this at all, but I feel that because of us talking about the original Batman with Michael Keaton back in, 1980, 87 it was or something like that, I think?
1989.
Somewhere around there.
89.
89. Okay, thank you. See, again, I'm sorry. But because of us mentioning it, he has not played Batman in forever. He did the two movies, which was Batman and Batman Returns, and now he hasn't been Batman since. Now there's talks that he is coming back to reprise his role as Batman in the new upcoming Flash movie. And I feel because of us talking about it, he came back. Because why else would he? There's no other reason. Except that we were talking about it, and I said I wasn't convinced that he was Batman. Mm-hmm. So I think it's because of us. Don't give me the it's true.
I can think of a lot of green reasons that he might come back.
Guys, don't burst my
Probably
bubble.
close
You know
to
that
at
this is the
least
reason.
2 million of them.
He's listened to this podcast, and it's all because of us. He's going to come back. So everybody, if you love Michael Keaton as Batman, you're welcome. It's because of us here, Bacon on the Rocks, taking care of the little people, the big people, all the people. Just, I know it was us.
So have you read any of the speculation on what his role is going to be?
So from what I understand is he will be coming back as Batman, and what he'll be doing is he will be kind of playing a role as, you know how Nick Fury kind of plays a role as like a guide or someone that, like when Iron Man in the Iron Man movie and how he was kind of like trying to get Tony Stark to be like, okay, look, get your stuff together. We're going to need you, because that was leading up to Avengers and all that. That's kind of the role he's going to kind of play as like a guide or just like a mentor to the Flash. Because I guess it's going to be, sorry, I wrote this down. I am not a DC guy. The only DC was really either Batman, like real Batman, or Superman. Those are the only two. The Flash and a lot of like Aquaman. I don't follow those at all. I don't know the characters.
Mean?
Well, like the Batman movies. That's what I mean.
The
Except for 89
the movies,
Batman.
the real Batman, not like the comic books.
Batman
the real
movies,
Batman.
not like them doing like Justice League or anything like that. Haven't followed any of that. Like the Wonder Woman came out. Haven't even seen Wonder Woman yet, and I've been wanting to.
They're not movies originally, Chuck.
Wonder Woman was excellent.
They have a Wonder Woman movie. What are you talking about? They absolutely have a Wonder Woman movie. And they had TV shows. You know what I'm talking about. I understand they're comic books, but I didn't follow them as much as I followed, like, because I didn't read comic books also. I just watched the movie. Like Superman, I saw Christopher Reeves play Superman. That's how I got hooked on Superman. Batman.
All right, yes. I'm just commenting on the real Batman, when the real Batman would be his original appearance, which would be comics. So to elaborate more on what I've heard, it's he's going to be playing his original role. It's supposed to basically make a multiverse in DC movies, and then be the mentor role, which a lot of people in the comic book community are a little skeptical on, because usually in the comic books, Batman's more of the lone wolf when he needs to be, not the one that's the leader.
Yeah.
So that's a little controversial thing in that realm. But that whole him being that's more speculation than anything else, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
speculation
him
that it's
actually
in the
reprising
future
his
too,
original
right?
role.
Speculation that it's like as it takes place from Justice League, it's in the future, right? Set slightly in the future or something. Like Barry Allen's going to
No,
travel.
this one's going to be. This one's going to be an alternate universe. Actually, is what I read on some of the articles I was looking at. Is there's a comic book that goes with, and I'm sorry again because I don't know. I got to look at my notes. It's called. It's based on the Flashpoint comic book where Alan travels to a different universe where there is no Justice League or anything like that. So it's just he meets Bruce Wayne, and and then whatever happens again.
So there's no Justice League, but there's a Batman.
But there is a Batman, yeah, in that alternate universe.
Or I'm not really familiar with DC Comics either, but I'm sure there's probably all of the Justice League heroes, just not formed as a Justice League in the universe that he goes into. I'm just speculating, but I imagine that's what it is.
I think I think that sounds the best way it could go, especially if you got Batman in there. I mean, you feel it'd kind of be something like that. They didn't meet up to fight and save the world. So Ezra Miller is going to play Flash again, like he did in Justice League, which is where I understand that Flash first showed up with the DC movie. I don't know what you want to call it. I'm not going to call it like Marvel does, but whatever their world is going to be, like that's where he first showed up was with Justice League, and so he'll be reprising his role. And some people were glad to see that Ben Affleck was the Batman during the Justice League, but that it won't be him playing Batman for where Keaton will come in. That it won't be Affleck again, because I guess a lot of people didn't like him as Batman.
I don't know too many people that were excited as Affleck being Batman, let alone after the fact.
Yeah, I didn't even see those Batman movies. But I think what did he do? 2 of them.
Well,
He did Justice League and he did like
Batman versus
Superman versus Batman. So I don't think anybody was really super impressed. So,
I feel like DC has the
There's
wrong
that.
tone in like those movies. Like they're just like a little bit off somehow.
I don't know if we talked about this before, but I feel like their real problem with what they were trying to do with the DCEU, which is what they tried to call it for a while, was they tried to go too fast. They saw what Marvel had and was like, oh, we want that, but we don't want to do that whole setup thing. Let's go straight to a Batman versus Superman. We have Superman established already. Let's go straight to a Batman versus Superman movie with the new Batman, and then go straight into Justice League after that. And that doesn't work. It was, gosh, I don't remember the years, but there was 5 movies before there was an Avengers movie in the Marvel Cinematic.
Yeah, easily. Because it's not even being talked about until Iron Man 2? Like,
and Iron Man 2 was basically more or less just set up for that movie.
Absolutely. Yep.
But that they would try to emulate Marvel without emulating Marvel.
I mean, and the thing that's killing me is I don't know. I see Wonder Woman like shows up all the time on, I think it's like TBS, like they keep replaying it, and I want to watch it, but I don't know why, I just can't commit to it. I don't know why. I like in me, I would like, I want to watch it, but then I either catch it halfway through, and so I'm like, well, I don't want to ruin it. Or I get watching it, but then it goes to commercial, and I just change right away because I don't want to.
I was just talking about that the other day too.
Watch commercials.
I started watching, but I only saw the first 20, 30 minutes. Also, I heard the beginning is a slow part because they start on the Amazon or whatever. But I've heard nothing but great things about that movie. As far as the whole DCEU goes, it was that movie and Aquaman had pretty good reviews too. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
Was
can't-
Aquaman also like a whole like origin type? Like this is how he became Aquaman? Was it, or was it just I know nothing about that one?
to my understanding, or at least it's
I didn't see
completely
it.
centralized on that,
Yeah.
focused on him.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. If anything, Marvel, it's like I'm ready to watch it. It's like I guess I'm just more vested into that because I've seen everything else, so I like that I can continue to follow it. But with DC, I think, like you said, it's just kind of all over, and they just started throwing it together. There was no continuity that made me like, okay, first, second, going like that. So
Marvel really, I don't know if they want to say they got lucky, but Feige has done a wonderful job. Not just planning the story that's happening now, but like down the road, there's so many things you're like, wow, that was a long play to set up for that. And you're almost wondering, did they actually plan that ahead of time, or did things kind of fall? And it's like, oh yeah, we could do this, but because of what we did back then. But I don't know. But he's just done a great job being the central point to connect all those movies. I mean, heck, stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy that people didn't even know what it was.
no,
Never even heard of it. It was the D-list of the D-list of Marvel,
this guy right here.
and it's most people's favorites. Myself
I love
included.
it. I absolutely love them now. I absolutely do. That's my story right there with Guardians of the Galaxy. Never heard of them. Nothing. And honestly, I still didn't even watch it until you told me to, because I was like, who are the Guardians of the Galaxy? It's like, really? But after I watched the first one,
Same. I went on
good.
a hiatus for a while of Marvel movies, and then I jumped back in for Infinity War. And then I saw the characters in that, and I'm like, I want to know more about these guys. And then I went back and watched their movies.
yep. And then that's when you told me. So, but I think it's exciting that they're just, that DC's listening to us and just bringing Michael Keaton back, possibly. Sorry, Eric, I had to throw it out there one more time. That was a great discussion, but I had to throw it one more time.
He's in talks.
If I'm not mistaken, you were talking down on Michael
Yeah.
Keaton when we were talking.
So he's
about
coming
him.
back
So
to
he's
prove
coming
a
back to
point
prove
to me.
himself to you. Is that what?
That's
It's
right.
just to prove himself
That's
to
right.
you.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I'm so excited. Anyways, let's shift gears here a little bit. It's summertime, and usually during the summertime, you know what? I mean, because we're talking about movies, a lot of movies come out, but because of Corona and everything's being pushed digitally and online. So, but anyways, it being summer, and the first day of summer just passed a couple days ago. It just started a couple days ago. I figure we could talk about summer, like, whether it's job memories or things we enjoy. What do we look forward to when summer comes around? So I want to kind of just open it up. Like, Eric, when summer comes around, I know you're kind of like, I just want to breathe, because with the job you have, it's like you're going all the way from fall straight through. And even into summer, like, depending how far things go, it's like not till mid-July that you can't like kind of go. So is there anything you really look forward to in the summertime?
Like as you were just saying, though, we own so many other businesses outside of the hockey now that it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Honestly, the past few years, it's been just breathing. It's been just leaving at 4 some days instead of 5, 6, 7.
So it's just the little things like that can happen.
These days, basically, yeah.
Yeah. So, but at least, you can maybe get a Friday and head out and go. I know you've gone down to Pennsylvania for some stuff with friends and things like that.
Yeah. Poconos a few times last year. Hit the casino up down there in Wilkes-Barre. Over to Vermont or up north. Just always, never anything big. Just places to get away.
Yeah.
Sit on a
Chris,
lake.
what about you?
I always look forward to, obviously, the nicer weather, and then you can get outdoors and do more things. I like to fly drones and stuff like that, so obviously it's easier to do. I mean, I still do it in the wintertime, but it's just not as pleasant.
It might be hard. Is it harder like in the winter? Because is it usually windier or not really? It's just like
Well, yeah, it's windier. I mean, it can be like today. It was pretty windy today. So I mean, you have your windy days in the summertime also. But I mean, the big thing is the cold. It's like your hands are on the controller and they kind of freeze, unless you're wearing gloves. But then you don't have the dexterity. So I typically just don't wear gloves and tough it out. So
does the cold also kill your batteries faster in those things, or does it depend on the model?
Yeah. It usually does. Yeah, you don't get as good a battery life in the cold.
Yeah.
So.
I was gonna say. So drones. Anything else?
Just it's a relaxing time, and I love just the smell of summer. You walk outside, even though I'm not huge on, I'm not a big heat guy, but like there's something about walking out like on a hot morning or something like that, and the air has a certain smell to it, and you're just like, ah.
You mean like it's gonna rain?
Kind of, or just like I don't know how to describe it. I always remember like when I was a kid, we used to drive to Florida all the time. My parents would take us down in for spring break or something like that. And I remember when you would just get to Florida, the air would have a certain smell to it because it was like warmer, and so like you almost get that same smell like even here in the summertime. And I don't know. I mean, I vividly remember like being at this rest stop in Florida at like 11 o'clock at night when we just got. It's like
stop. Oh no!
It's like the first one, like right before you get across the Florida-Georgia line.
Yeah,
Florida-Georgia line or whatever.
Florida-Georgia line.
Yeah. And I get out and like the air was just like, oh, it smells so nice. It's like warm, coming from central New York where it was probably 30 degrees at the time or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah. But I want to go back because you're talking about smells and everything. Can you guys really say that you can smell when it's about to rain?
Sometimes.
Can either of you say that?
Sometimes.
'Cause people tell me that, and I'm like, what do you mean? I mean, a smell?
I mean, I'm not foolproof with it, but it has a smell, yeah.
And not when it's going to be a middle of the summer type of storm rain. Absolutely.
Yeah, probably if you walked outside now. You would probably smell it. Isn't it it's supposed to storm tonight, I think.
It's supposed to thunderstorm here in a little bit. So,
that's another.
But I've never smelled anything. It's just you can. What's that?
I agree with what Eric's about to say.
That's one of my favorite things about summer is storms. I love a good thunderstorm.
Yeah.
I love when it's maybe 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock when it hits, and when I was younger. Few friends of mine would go to a neighbor's house and just sit on the porch, make a bag of popcorn, and just watch the storm.
Yep.
Then even better, laying in my bed listening to thunder roll and not the Garth Brooks song, and the rain.
It's a great song though.
I don't know. I love storms.
I agree. I agree 100%.
I agree. Yep. I mean, I wouldn't get a bag of popcorn, but it's like the thing I love the most is especially when it's like really humid out and then it's like the storm front's coming and then all the humidity just breaks and that wind is just whipping through and it's just a nice warm wind. And there's no smell.
And it has a
oh my gosh.
Smell.
It's that smell.
Stop teaming with my wife. That's all she says. She goes, "Oh, it's going to rain." I go, "It's not going to rain."
Would
and
it
then
rain?
sometimes it does. And sometimes it doesn't.
I think
I'm just telling you. I'm like,
you need to be more in tune with nature, Chuck, I think that's what we're learning.
No, me and nature, we're gonna have it out one day. Today's not the day.
I don't think you're gonna win.
Yeah, I won't win. But yeah, I love the moments before a storm, and then when it does come, yeah. But it's like anytime I've ever gone outside, like Eric, like you said, you went on a porch. Like if I ever did something like that, it's like. At least where I've had a porch, so I've had a porch since I was like older, not when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid and I would watch, I would like literally sit in the garage. And so like it would always it's always like a hard downpour. And so the rain's just like soaking me and hitting me. And I'm like, okay, this isn't enjoyable anymore. So I go inside. So anytime I've done it like recently in my life, it's like, no, this isn't enjoyable.
I guess I was just in covered porches.
Yeah, I was gonna say you lucked out on that one. I didn't. It would always like come in and start raining on me, and I'm like, no, I'm done. So, But the moments that lead to it, though, until it really starts to happen, yeah, fantastic. Absolutely. That's my favorite weather. I mean, if I could drive in that weather all day, have the windows down and just drive in that, it's magical. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. But there is no smell. You guys know it. You're just, everybody's ganging up against me today. So favorite summer things, for me, or like things that I enjoy when summer comes around. And it sounds weird, but I honestly do. I love mowing the lawn. And where I live, every single person on the block but me has a riding lawnmower because our lawns are roughly about just short of an acre for each house, I guess. And every one of them comes. And I just bought it. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I have a lawnmower and it works, so that's why I haven't bought one. Just bought a new one last year, and it's still a push mower because I like the lines. I guess that's I like to just have that kind of control where if you're using a riding lawnmower, you don't have as much control. So, it's not like I even want a riding lawnmower. I love it that I can put like lines in it and be able to control, like, especially like, I don't know, my cousins were farmers and they just, they kind of deal with nature more than I do and working in the elements and all that. And the thing that they always told me is like, when you mow your lawn, you never want to mow it the same direction every time, because what happens is clumps of grass will pile up because it's being cut the same way. So you always want to try and do like one direction one time, one direction another time. So I usually go like straight back and forth one week, and then the next week I kind of do like a sideways thing. And actually my neighbor, when I first moved in, met my neighbors. I mowed the lawn like first or second day because the house wasn't being taken care of. Like the people were already out and just weren't taking care of it. My neighbors came over to me like the day after I mowed and introduced themselves. The wife did. Her name's Tammy, and she introduced herself. She goes, "By the way, you pissed my husband off." And I'm like, what did I do already? I mean, I've only been here 2 days. I haven't done much. I've been like ripping things up. I was staying up late. I was like ripping up the carpets upstairs because they were all horrible and smelled and all that. So like I was doing a lot of work late at night. So I was like thinking maybe he heard me and I was keeping him awake. She goes, "No, you mowed your lawn all fancy. Like now he's afraid he's going to have to do that." And I was like, I mowed my lawn sideways. So if you mow your lawn sideways, that's fancy, according to my neighbors. And so I always do when the summer comes around or spring, summer, and we're ready for the first mow, I always do that sideways one first, just to give them a little, because we're good neighbors like that. We can sit there and pick on each other. So, because he has a riding lawnmower and he can't achieve that with his riding lawnmower. So, but mowing the lawn is definitely one of my favorite things to do during the summer. And it's like Xavier could start even mowing the lawn, and I'm very hesitant to let him because I kind of want to do it.
That's your baby.
I want to do It's not even my baby. I don't know. Just like I like vacuuming. When I'm in the house, I want to vacuum. I want to be the one to vacuum. I don't know why. It's something about the lines and putting them in and seeing results. And
you are naming my least favorite things to do.
That's why we're such good friends.
You're welcome to come back in here whenever you want.
Yeah, but you don't have to mow a lawn. Do you go and mow your mother's for her?
I didn't say anything about that.
Oh, wait, what else did I? What else? Oh, vacuuming?
I have, but I don't
I'll
I'd
vacuum.
rather someone else do it.
Oh, I love vacuuming. I'm surprised you don't have a little auto vacuum thing with knowing you. You probably don't. You have a Roomba?
Yeah, it doesn't get everywhere.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. But it does. It helps, but it doesn't get everywhere.
It does the bulk, yeah. When I'm not home,
I
too.
have to say, one thing I dislike about summer is the humidity, because we just got a room. My wife just got a Roomba for her birthday / anniversary / Christmas / whatever else you want to dump into that. But she got a Roomba, and the thing does nothing but like there's a little brush on the front end that goes, and it's like plastic against plastic, and so it just squeaks like mad. And I've tried putting oil on it and all these other things, and it takes the squeak away for 10 minutes, and then it's right back. So you know what? Something for summer that I don't like, the Roomba when it has to go, but it saves me from a lot of vacuuming. Otherwise, I'd have to vacuum a lot more on the hardwood floors, which I don't like hardwood floors. I like to vacuum the carpet because you can see the lines.
Now, is that summer specific, Chuck, or is that just an all time of year?
No, just summer because of the humidity. So it's the plastic
Oh,
rubbing
okay.
against the other plastic on it. So far, I mean, we'll have to see when fall and winter comes back and the humidity goes away if it stops. But yeah, so far I've noticed when the humidity kicks up, Roomba's making some noise. So, so anyways, with summer also, especially when we were younger, it's like summer jobs. Everybody kind of would have a summer job, except for one person I just learned recently who didn't have a summer job. He just had a job. But Chris, I want to start with you. Summer jobs. Did you have any favorites, any least favorites? Give us a little rundown here on your life in summer jobs when you were younger.
Well, I only had one official job where I worked for an actual employer for the summer, and that was at Enchanted Forest Water Safari, a water park in upstate New York for those who may not be aware of it. And I mostly worked in games, but you'd have to, fill in a few places here from time to time. So I did water rides occasionally. I was not lifeguard certified, so I didn't do anything. You had to be there were certain rides you had to be a lifeguard to run.
Yeah.
So
Well, I figured you wouldn't have to be a lifeguard if you're at the top of a slide and you just tell a kid to go, right? You had to be more lifeguard by the pool.
Well, they
when they're-
switch. They switch, though, is the thing. So usually, like if like in theory, yeah, you're right, but usually they switch places like for half the day or something like that.
Yep.
So you end up having to be a lifeguard. But like say for like the 5-person tube ride or something, you don't have to be a lifeguard for that because there's no
Okay.
like you can just pull somebody out of the water or whatever. The water's not deep enough, I guess.
Right.
So, and that was I enjoyed it, but looking back on it, I don't think I could ever do it again. It was like a really long day, but I mean, it was your standard like 8-hour shift, but it just seemed really long at the time.
'Cause you're
Maybe
watching
because like
Probably because
Yeah,
you're watching everyone else have fun.
exactly, yeah, and like parents are on vacation, so they're very lax about what their kids are doing. So I spent a lot of time yelling at kids and stuff like that, and the most memorable moment I think from my whole time of working was when I was working what was called the Amazon. And
The Amazon, I love it.
it's like this 5-person tube ride that like is all these twists and turns or whatever, and it's kind of like, for lack of a better term, like sort of like a river at some points. You go down the slide, and so I was working the bottom one day, and so it's real monotonous, and it's kind of like physical labor. You got to like dump the water out and then pick it up and then hand it to the next people in line or whatever. So usually like bigger guys get put on that shift or whatever. So me and this other guy are working it, and so and like I said, it gets very monotonous. So you're kind of like just doing the same thing over and over again, and then so I remember handing the tube to the people in line, and then kind of turning back around, and I see the next tube coming down, and everyone inside the tube looks mortified, and I'm like, that's weird. And then I see these like legs kicking around in the tube. And I'm like, that doesn't look like a person. So the thing comes to a stop right by us.
No, please don't tell me what I think you're about to say. Go.
The tube hits a deer that was crossing the water, the river or whatever you want to call it, and just goes right inside the tube with all the family that was coming down the hill. So I'm just standing there. I remember just standing there watching this whole thing unfold, like it was in some sort of dream or something. Like I'm like, is this actually happening? So the thing stops, and like I could reach out and touch the deer if I wanted to. But the thing finally gets to its feet and just hauls into the park, just takes off right into the park, and like the managers would walk around. They'd have like this radio on their shoulder, like right here. And I remember I always wanted one of those things so bad, but I never got one. So this manager goes running after the deer, and he's like, "We got a deer loose in the park," and he's chasing this deer down. And I'm like, "What are you gonna do if you catch this thing?"
I was so hoping you were about to say, "We have a code brown too. We have a code brown too." Like they have an actual thing ready for the deer in the park loose.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the first time that actually happened, and
So the
I'm
codes
not
came
sure if
after
it's
that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there's probably a code for it now. We got a code Bambi in the Amazon.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh my. Now, how big of a deer was it? Was it like a little, like a mother deer? Because obviously, if it had horns,
It
like
wasn't
people
a-
would be like jumping out of that thing.
It wasn't a buck. It was like
Yeah.
yeah. It was not like a what are they called? Doe? Is that what a baby deer is
Yeah.
called?
Fawn.
It was
Or,
bigger than
fawn.
fawn. Doe is the female, right?
Doe is a
Yeah,
deer, a
yep.
female deer. And
Yeah,
Ray is a
okay.
drop
Ray,
of golden sun.
drop a golden sun.
From what I remember, it was a doe. Either that or it had really small horns. I don't know. And then
Okay.
it wasn't like gigantic, but it wasn't super small either. Somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
Wow, that's awesome. That's a great story. Wow, I don't even want to tell any stories now because I can't top
That
that.
is hilarious.
Darn it, Chris! Why didn't you tell me you had a good story? Why had you go last?
Well, yeah. And then there was another time when there was this ride that doesn't exist there anymore. They tore it out because they always had problems with it. I think it was called the White Cobra or something like that. Or I don't know. It was the one where you go up on it's like a one person tube and you would go down, and there was this one spot on the ride that if you didn't weigh enough, people tended to get stuck in. So like a lot of kids or whatever would get stuck in this one spot of the ride. So then it became someone's job to sit at that spot all day long and push the kids out and push the kids out that got stuck there. So one day I'm there sitting on this thing, and these kids come along, you just, they give you like a stick or something, or you'd like, but I had like longer legs, so I could usually just reach these people. So I would just like put my foot on the side of the tube and just give them a shove. Yeah. So I'm sitting there one day and I hear the screaming coming down towards me. And it was like, stop the ride, or something like that. And there's this
Emergency
kid.
stop on the water slide.
Yeah, on the water slide. Just stop the water and everything, So this kid's like screaming. He wants to get off the ride or whatever, and he's screaming at me. And that was one of the directions was like, don't ever let somebody get off the ride at this point because like it's like not safe. Like it wasn't safe. You had to like climb down there. It wasn't like a path that you could, go to or whatever.
Right. So there's
So I just remember, yeah, exactly. It would be like some sort of lawsuit or something. So I remember this kid just looks right at me and he's like screaming. He's like, help, get me off this ride. And I was like, sorry, kid. Just took my foot and just went doosh, and kicked him on his way.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like a scene from a movie. What? It's like
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
A Christmas Story.
Yeah, it was kind of like that.
Exactly, a Christmas
I
Story.
didn't touch.
He just
Yeah,
pushes
I
his face
kicked
with
the
his foot.
tube and not the kid, to clarify. But
That would have been better. You should have just done it. Hey, you're gonna shoot your eye out, kid. And
Ho.
yes. Now, did I laugh about that in my head for the rest of the day? I did.
absolutely,
Yeah.
there's no shame in that. Absolutely, I would be too.
Sorry, kid.
Oh my gosh, Chris, that's two. What the heck, Eric? We're in trouble. Well, did you have? Was there any really bad part? And I don't want you to talk bad about it, but were there parts that you really didn't like, or was it pretty much overall a pretty good experience being there?
I mean, for the most part, I worked there for 4 summers, so I must have enjoyed myself to some extent. One of my least favorite jobs to do was depending on where you were in the parking lot. Like I worked in the parking lot sometimes, and as long as you were like the person who was like parking the cars, like if you were in that group of people, like that went by fast, and I enjoyed doing that. But then there was the one guy who had to stand like in the center of the like by the admission thing and flag cars to go to whichever parking lot they were parking cars in at the time. And I got stuck there a couple times, and that is a long day. It's just standing there, and you would listen to like the radio. It wasn't the radio; it was like a tape that was like on repeat. So you would, I think it was probably like an hour and a half or something like that, and things would just start to repeat. And like by the time, if you had worked there enough, you had heard these songs like over and over and over in your head.
Yeah.
And it was, it was hot too. You like on the blacktop all day, out no shade.
Yeah.
Does not sound fun.
But there is one saving grace to working that spot was, and I think I'm outside of any sort of statute of limitation at this point in my life, but one thing was you were never supposed to save a parking space for any of the guests or whatever. So I'm standing there one day, and this guy comes out, he's parked like basically in the first spot. He must have got there like right as the place opened or something like that, or even before. And he's like, hey, any chance I get you to save this spot? I'm like, no, sir, we're not allowed to. I'll give you $20. No problem, sir. I went and got a cone and put the thing right in there. And people were like trying to park there all day. I'm like, nope. I'm like flagging them on, moving them all. Made an extra $20 that day.
Hey, $20 is $20.
$20
Gotta
is
earn
$20.
that cash somehow.
Yeah.
Did he actually
Especially
ever come back, or did he just bust your
Oh
chops
yeah,
and
he
never
came back.
Oh,
He
did
was. I mean, that was his thing. Was like, I'm only gonna be gone like 10 minutes. You know, or so, he had to go. I think he went to because you can bring like food in the park or something like that. I think he went somewhere outside the park and got food and then brought it back.
Okay.
So
probably the Pied Piper. Because
$20
Yeah.
is probably
He
more
came
than
back.
half of your day that back then.
yeah, I think my paycheck was like $130 if I was lucky. You know,
Wow.
or something like that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so $20. That was good times back then.
That's a good day.
Yeah.
So Eric, what about you? I know you were the one saying you didn't really have a summer job, but
No, only jobs I ever had, I had full year round.
But you worked there in the summer, right?
Yeah, I didn't
was there in
stop
the
working. I didn't have winter jobs, if that's what you're asking. No, I worked at Price Chopper which is a local grocery store for many years, and I disliked part of the summer just because when I first started working there, I worked carts, and pushing carts all day long in the hot sun can get tiring fast. At least in the winter, we got water, obviously, but like in the winter, we would get hot chocolate during the cold. Water's just water. Hot chocolate was awesome. Winter was better for pushing carts just for the hot chocolate.
oh, it's the little things. It's the little things. So I have two memorable jobs. I'm trying to think which one was first. The first one was my cousins, as I said, they're farmers, so this ties right back to them. I got to work on the farm, I think it was for 2 summers. And honestly, one of the best jobs, I love doing it because at a farm, you never know what you're doing that day. It's always something different, which I really, for me personally, it's always to do the same thing over and over again, day in, day out, very much drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. To have something where it changes even just a little bit, just so I'm not doing that same thing every day. You know, like if I had to be someone who had to like run numbers all day long and that's all I did, I would go insane. But just to have like that different thing, like one day you'd be like a lot of it was like baling hay and straw and putting it up in the barn. That was like the primary job of being at the farm, at least for the kind of, since it was like, I was a rookie in essence. There wasn't, it's like I hadn't driven a lot of tractors. I didn't know, how everything worked. You'd have to be taught, and planting beans is like an all night thing. And, they weren't going to pay me to work night shifts, obviously. But like some of the best things about it is when I was 13 years old, my cousin's like, okay, we got to go out to Clinton, which Clinton is just like a town over from where their farm is, which is in New Hartford. So they're like, we got to go to Clinton. So you get on the tractor. And I looked at my cousin. I was 13 years old again at this time. And I'm like, what do you mean get on the tractor? He goes, you're driving us there. And I was like, 13 years old, driving a tractor with a trailer on the back, like a wagon on the back as well. And I had to go to Clinton, New York. My first time ever driving on the road. Scared as could be. And I'm scared as could be sitting there driving. This car's all over. You got a wagon. When you drive with like one of these wagons, they don't just stay straight. They always swerve. They're always going kind of a little bit this way, that way, the whole entire time. So you're worried you're going to take out a car in the other lane. But here I am at 13 years old having to drive, a good like 7-8 miles to get where we had to go. And I remember we got onto this one road and it's like completely smooth except for this one huge pothole right where one of the tires led. And did I try and avoid it? No, because I didn't know what the trailer would do. So I went right through it. All of a sudden I hit this pothole and bam, you see me jump up out of the seat. I'm still the only thing that kept me in was me holding onto the wheel and then driving down. And then my cousin's driving behind me in a truck or something like that. And so I turn back and look at him and he goes, what are you doing? And so, I would say that was like the most exciting and scariest time. working on the farm, like, yeah, there were animals, there were cows. They were pretty much a dairy farm. There was pretty much only cows. At a time, there were chickens when I was younger, but by the time I started working there, the chickens were gone. But that was like one of my favorite things because, again, it's just a different job every day. The thing I hated the most is my cousin's grandfather would go out on a tractor, and he took me and one of my cousins with me, and we were literally walking next to a tractor, and we were picking up huge stones. And the thing that was on the tractor that you would throw it into was literally called the rock picker, because it had little forks in the front that you would lower down, get it underneath the rock, lift it up, shake it a little bit to get the dirt off, and then it would fold all the way up so the rock would go in the back where you're dumping them. But no, he had us walk the fields with him, and we were literally picking up the rocks, like just big ones, and throwing them in and picking them up and throwing them in. I have to say, though, out of everything on the farm, it is the best exercise in your life. I was never in better shape in my life than when I worked on the farm.
I'm sure.
I mean, so you're not only getting paid to work, you're getting in great shape. So absolutely loved working on the farm. And then my other one was I was a lifeguard. And so I worked at a local country club here in the area. And it was a lot of fun with the people I was working with. A lot of the people on it were people I was a swimmer, so they were from the swim team. And it was just a summer of just, we would have swim lessons. You would, just watch the kids. And the best part is, like we were talking about the rain and how great it is when it rained. When it rained and you heard lightning or thunder or anything, everybody out of the pool, at least a good 20 minutes. So then you would clear. If you heard the littlest thunder, and you have to, just because you never know when lightning could strike. So you heard that thunder. It's like, everybody out of the pool. And then that's when if it was a full packed day, people heard that. They're like, okay, we're done for the day. They would literally get up, pack, and leave. Like, we barely had anybody stay, which was absolutely the best thing, because at this place we could sit there, and if no one was around, they had a little kitchen, and we would cook food. And so we made burgers. We had like a pizza tray. We would put all like loads of French fries on there, and we would just like play cards for hours, and we're getting paid. And at that time it was like, for a lifeguard, it was $6.50 an hour, which in the late 90s that was pretty decent. That was higher than minimum wage. So $6.50 an hour, and you're just sitting there playing cards with your friends and eating French fries, having a burger or chicken, and dude, it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of good times. And I would have to say, like, Chris, you had that funny story. This is going to be my funniest story that ever happened with any of these jobs. Is one of the people I was working with, her name was Kelly. And because it's a golf course, there's obviously golf carts and stuff like that. So again, it was thundering. People left. So we took some of the golf carts. We took 2 golf carts out for a rip on the golf course, because none of the golfers could play either because of thunder. You got to stop and sit still. So there's a fairway or something right behind us. So we're driving out on the golf cart like that. So, golf carts don't go that fast. So she's just has the pedal to the floor. And so then, I don't know, for some stupid reason, I decided to jump out and run beside the golf cart. And so I jump out, I'm running by, and we're just laughing. And then she pulls away from me. And then I'm like, oh crap, I got to get back in. I don't want to keep running this long. And so then as soon as I decided to, like, okay, I'm going to run towards her, she turned towards me, and I literally jumped into the air to get in the golf cart. And then she turned, and then I hit her and literally almost knocked her out of the golf cart. Like, I was literally holding onto the wheel and holding onto her arm to pull her back in, because I almost knocked her out of the golf cart when she turned. It was just like mid-air collision. And I just bowled her right over, almost out of it. So, yeah, she didn't appreciate that too much, but it was kind of her fault. It was half and half, because she shouldn't have turned to me. I just keep going straight. I'll get in. And no, she turned right to me. And boom, Kelly almost fell out of the golf cart. Not super mad. I owed her size, so like to make up for it, I mean, let me tell you, I was 180 pounds, like flying at her. Yeah, I don't think she felt too good after that. So, I mean, she was a little peanut. So I felt bad, but it was really funny. Like, you just look, and I'm just sitting there holding her, I'm holding onto her arm, and it's like from a movie where, oh no, the person's going to fall out. And then you just like pull them back in, and then got control of the whole thing. It was good. Everybody survived. It was a good time. So That was like, those were my two favorite summer jobs ever. So, is there anything bad about summer though? Okay, we said the good stuff. Things we enjoy. Is there anything bad about summer when it shows up? Because I mean, you always hear a lot of positives. Like winter, you always hear the bad stuff. It's cold. It's freezing. I don't want to deal with it. It's miserable. Is there anything bad about summer that you guys have that you're just like, nope, I could definitely do without it?
Humidity, especially around here.
Do either of you? I mean, I don't suffer from it, thank God, but I know a lot of people suffer badly from allergies, especially when summer hits.
Knock on wood.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Knock on. It's like because there's days I feel like crap, and I'm like, is this allergies? It better not be, because it's like I find a lot of people as they get older, their allergies like start acting up and get worse as they get older, and I'm like, ugh, I hope that doesn't happen to me.
Yeah, over the past 5 years, I've developed some pretty bad allergies, but they're usually worse in the spring and the fall. The summer is not as bad.
Oh, okay.
It's the drastic changes in the weather are usually what really does it to me. Once we're into the warm or into the cool, it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't. There's nothing I'm like, oh, summer's starting. I don't like blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot. I know it's like like you said, the humidity is the worst thing for me, I guess, but I'm not outside as much anymore. You know, like I said, when you were working on the farm and you're working out in this, then you're like, holy cow, this sucks. But now that I don't work on the farm, it's like, yeah, okay.
There's certain
one thing
events
I forgot
that I
to
don't
mention.
particularly enjoy working.
Yeah.
I'm sure I know
But-
what those are.
Do you want to leave it at? We'll just leave
I'm
it
gonna
at
leave it
that.
at that.
Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at
Okay.
that. And there's more than
I know.
one. There's more than one. So I'll just leave it at that.
It's fair.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of
Another
it's
thing
like just. Go ahead.
Another thing is summer always kind of makes me think of like when I was younger. My family used to own a camp up north. So that's where we spent 80% of the summer. It was not on a lake, but close to a lake. And so many of my memories have to do with that place, whether it just be encountering wild animals or hanging out on the lake all day long. Just because I want to share something funny. One of my favorite parts about it was, so when I was growing up, I had a dog too. It was a cockapoo. His name was Scotty. May he rest in peace. One of the funniest things though is we had a boat that we take out on the lake too. And no matter what, whenever we would go under a bridge in the boat with the dog, he would always duck. The bridge is way up there, not going to come anywhere close to him, but always would cower down and duck every time we went near a bridge.
Oh my gosh.
It was
That's
the
crazy.
funniest thing.
Did you just do it on purpose, like go around a couple times just to see if you keep doing it? Like at first?
I don't know. I don't know that we would like circle and specifically go under bridges, but like it was a small lake, and there were just a few bridges that you had to naturally go across to just circle the lake, and every time it was like, oh, watch Scotty, he's gonna do the thing.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's
my dog
awesome.
did something similar. My dog did something similar when we used to live in a condo, and there was a light hanging from the ceiling, and we used to put a table. It was kind of like in the middle of the room, and we used to put like this little pub table there, and sometimes we would move it out of the way, and I'd walk by and I would hit my head on it, and like I wouldn't even swear or anything like that or start yelling about it, but I would just walk by, I'd hit my head on the light, and then I would turn and I'd see the dog would be like cowering like over in the corner, like walking away from me, like I was gonna hit her or something, and I was like, what? And I was like the weirdest little. I don't understand. I mean, she was a stray, so I don't know if like her previous owner would like hit his head and like then smack her or something. I have no idea. But now that we don't live there anymore, it's she doesn't do anything like that necessarily anymore. But it was the strangest thing.
That's funny. Like, yeah, I always see the videos of like people with puppies that just hold them over the sink, and then they're just instantly go into the doggy paddle even though they're in the air type of thing. So they have these weird reactions to things,
Yeah.
or just I
See,
guess
I'm trying to
what
think,
you would
like-
call instincts.
For the 2 dogs I've had in my life, I can't think of anything Diesel or Penny do randomly like that. I mean, the most random thing was Diesel trying to kill himself when we left chocolates on a kitchen table. And he's a wiener dog, so he's not a big dog. And we had taller chairs. And we went away one night, and it's just like, those holiday assorted chocolate boxes that, you get during the holidays. And somehow he got his way up onto the chair, up onto the kitchen table, and literally ate the whole entire box. No one touched it yet. So you're talking a good, 20, 25 candies sitting in there. Got into it and ate every single one. And then we came back to nothing but pure water, and I'm sorry to be disgusting, but water and puke chocolate all over the carpets and floors because, chocolate, number one, is supposed to kill dogs. So Diesel was tough as nails because he did not die. He survived that twice over. Didn't eat as many chocolates the second time, but he found chocolate, and he would eat that stuff, and he did not care. But both times, did not die. But yeah, he was just sick as could be. And so he felt so sick, like a dog. Usually they go and eat grass. So there was grass mixed in it too. He would go outside and go eat the grass, then come inside to puke, to help him puke it up. And then he was just drinking tons and tons and tons of water. And it was just a mess for a good, I would say a full 24 hours. Like we would start to hear him go and we're like rushing him out the dog door, like get outside, go puke out there. We can at least rinse it from there instead of having to wipe it all and everything in there. So that's the weirdest thing either of my dogs did, which isn't really weird for a dog if it can figure it out. So.
Well, dogs will eat almost anything.
Yeah, I know. Like my in-laws' dog, one Thanksgiving, we left a pumpkin pie outside on a table. She was a bigger dog, jumped right up, ate the whole pumpkin pie. Nobody knew until it was dessert time. We went out to get it, and it was gone. So that house was very cursed with dogs eating our food. Yeah, good old Kylie. So, and one thing I did want to say also, Eric, you were saying, that was like a good summer memory that you had with the dog is one thing also I forgot to mention with me enjoying summer is the other thing I love that always happens are car shows, especially the one at Munson Williams Proctor Art Institute that they have. They have it's like you've got to be selected and you get like a special invitation to go to that car show. And I'm telling you, if you've never been there, unfortunately, I doubt it's going to happen this year, which makes me sad because many times I either forget, at least recently, the last 2 years I haven't gone. I was excited for it this year. More than likely, it's probably not going to happen. If it already hasn't been canceled, it may have already been canceled. I don't know. But car shows are a thing I absolutely do love to go to and see and get super jealous over all the people who have beautiful Corvettes, nice old Ford Model Ts, Mustangs, VW Bugs, all kinds of cars. Love them. So, but that is definitely one of the most favorite things I always try to look for. There's the Wampsville car show, especially. That's another good one. That's a lot of cars there. And then Eric, actually by you, Dave's Diner down the road on Herkimer, down the road, he has a car. And it's not even like a car show. It's just like a car guys get together thing. He has a big field in the back by his ice cream shop. So go down, get an ice cream. And then he has a boatload of cars just lined up the whole way. People just going to have a good time, have some ice cream and see some friends and talk and look at your car.
Yeah. So it's like probably a certain day of the week that's the designated. Cause I think it's Tuesdays. I would remember seeing all the cars traveling that way, and it's like, oh, there's an old Corvette Stingray. I know where that's going.
God, Stingray, I love him. The curves on that car are amazing. The fender flares that come. Oh God, I love the Stingray. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, cars are
I love
cool,
my cars.
I guess.
I know you don't like them that much, as much as I do.
I'm not gonna go out of my way to something like that. Like,
yeah,
they're cool. If someone has a cool car, I'll be like, let me look at your cool car. But I'm not going to be like, oh, there's a whole bunch of cool cars. Let me go hang out with those people.
I'm still waiting for the day when I go to one of these things and I see a Dodge Viper. That's the only car I have not seen at these. I've seen like all these other crazy, awesome, amazing cars. The one I still haven't seen is a Dodge Viper.
Chuck's dream car.
I love that car so much. Sorry, it makes me happy.
For our audio listeners, the biggest smile came on.
Never
Chuck's
owned
face.
it. Never touched one. Just it brings a smile to my face. So, but is there anything else about summer that you guys really enjoy? Or Chris, I mean, you guys go to the lake a lot. Is there anything else you guys anything else you guys enjoy?
Sunsets,
Long walks on the beach.
sunrise and sunsets. I actually, like, in all seriousness, I love getting up.
You're just buzzed.
No, I'm dead serious. I love, in the summertime, I love to get up real early, especially like when I have my drone charged, I'll go out and I'll capture the sunrise or the sun. I prefer the sunrise because there's not as many people around, because nobody ever wants to get up that early. Sunset, there's usually a lot of people around, so I usually don't take the drone out for that one. But or just just getting up and walking in the morning before like the world gets busy. I like to just like walk around and like there's nobody out, nobody bothers me. Just take the dog for a walk, and it kind of is like a nice little way to start the day in the summertime.
Yeah. No, I agree. I absolutely love. Now, what time though? Like to shoot a sunrise? I mean, when I wake up at like 5:20 in the morning.
I usually like if I plan. I usually look at the weather, like when I get the itch to do something like it, and then I'll see what time the sun's gonna rise for official sunrise. Because usually you want to be there obviously before, and then put it up. I don't know, 10, 15 minutes before, and you'll get like all the good stuff, like all the good colors. Because sometimes the best stuff happens before the sun actually comes up.
Yeah.
So it all depends. And like a lot of it's just luck too, like depending on what the clouds are doing and that sort of thing.
Yep. See, drone pilot right there, everybody. If you haven't seen his stuff, it's on YouTube. Make sure you check out Chris's drone stuff. It's pretty cool. I've watched a couple. So, yeah, I don't know how you do it. I don't know, especially when you guys wear those little visors. I don't know. I think that throws me off. Especially because it's like the signal, you can kind of like lose it, and yet you still keep control of that thing. I don't know how you do that. So
it takes practice. I was not.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, I practiced a lot to be mediocre, I would say.
What would you say is?
I would say.
What would you say is easier? Once you got used to the goggles? I feel like that would almost, in a way, be easier doing that because you're like kind of controlling from a first person perspective instead of watching something and controlling it. But I mean, obviously you've gotten good at that too. So what do you consider easier?
I think once you get like the spatial awareness down with the goggles, because it's like you have depending on the field of view of your camera, there's still like a large portion of stuff that you can't see around you, but you kind of have to have a sense of sort of like exploring where you are and know the area you're in, so you know what you can hit, Yeah. So I think for the most part, if you're doing like proximity stuff, like if you want to be flying close to objects, flying with the goggles is easier. But if you're flying like higher than say the trees or something like that, it's probably, I mean, because even when you're doing like line of sight, you can still see what the camera's seeing. So there's a little bit of like the up and down looking, but the one thing is the goggles are lower latency than what you're seeing on like a DJI drone or something like that. So like that's something that's messed me up, like where I'm used to flying with the goggles, and then like I'm looking at my screen on the DJI thing, and like it's I don't know, a second or two behind what's that. Yeah. So I mean, it's all just, you just got to get used to it, like either way, And then it like the DJI ones basically will fly themselves almost, and then a lot of the FPV racers, you can turn off all stabilization and do all kinds of flips and tricks and stuff like that, and that's harder to learn, but then more fun once you start to get it down.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Well, guys. I know. I got to pick up a hobby. I don't know what I'd want to do for a hobby. So
I sort of fell into it myself. It wasn't like it sort of happened by accident. If you had told me like 2 years before I started doing it that I would get into that as deeply as I have, I would not have believed you for a second.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's how a lot of them happen, I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need money before I have a hobby. I guess this is my hobby right now. This is probably the closest thing I have to a hobby is doing this.
Fair.
So
That's fair.
I enjoy it. I like our talks. It's fun. So I like Uncle Pete's. You know, Uncle Pete's is great.
Yeah.
So
what was Uncle Pete's this week again?
oh, Uncle Pete's it's Uncle Pete's a love shack. When you need love, go see Uncle Pete. So everybody needs love.
Everybody needs
When
love.
you need some love, everybody wants some love. Loving
Especially
from Uncle
today.
Pete.
Especially in today's day and age.
Yeah, all we need is love.
Love is all we need.
Okay, so anyways, I think that's summer in a nutshell for us, unless there's something else you guys really feel that's outstanding that you want to share. But yeah, so we already threw out there our Uncle Pete sponsorship. Thank you very much, Uncle Pete. Be sure to stop by and ask Uncle Pete for some good old-fashioned hugs. So again, we always ask, and we love to hear from you guys. We're starting to get some comments, and we love responding back and hearing from you. If you have any ideas on topics you'd love for us to talk about, or please subscribe. Especially if you're enjoying this, share this with your friends, family. We love the response we're getting, and it's continuing to grow every week. So we thank you and appreciate all your support during this. But other than that, I think it's time to say farewell for this podcast until next week, where it will be week 9. And we have done 2 months worth. Again, we're at 2 months, guys.
Seems
Awesome.
like just yesterday.
I'm not going to lie. It doesn't feel like we've done 8 podcasts already. I'm not going to lie. So it is going by quick, just like anything else. So, well, with that said, everybody, I'd like to thank Eric, Chris, once again, guys. Let's do this again next week.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
Okay. Until then, everybody, thank you and have a good day.